Okay, sorry for the delay, but we are back to cover the last clan for Planeswalker's Guide to Tarkir Dragonstorm. Even though the story is already coming out, since we already got so far, I might as well finish this off. So we have the Temur, who have the claw of the dragon gimmick. Here we have a dragon's claw, which can also be look kind of like a bear claw. We do know they like to have their bears, and it has like this could be interpreted as a sweeping motion. The land will guide us. So speaking of the land will guide us, are we looking at the dragons? It's clearly going for like more. They're really pushing the dragons a bit to make them more distinct from each other visually, like upon first blush. And here, the team, what makes them distinct is that their dragons have a more elemental, like raw, almost raw mana appearance. Like they're made of raw magic or like raw energy of the environment. It's almost kind of like reminds me like vaguely like Aurora Borealis or something. Like it's not quite as colorful. Like Aurora Borealis is more pinks and stuff, but like if you saw it flying in the distance, you could mistake it for like some weird light phenomenon. Um, the dragon's like more wispy, which once again like makes it seem like a dragon's almost like a part of the environment in the way. Like it's just made of elements like wind and like clouds just forming together. Once again, I think this is like some sort of ascendancy card, like team ascendancy. Like there is no main character. Like these guys are so far away, you can barely see their face. You see, kind of just see dots that are their face. I think they have goblins now. I don't think the teamer always had goblins. Actually, they might have. I think they always did have goblins. I'm trying to remember. I guess the Jessica have goblins. They didn't have always got. But anyway, so once again, we have here also what looks like another Dragonstorm forming, and this forms almost like a halo on the dragon's head in a way that catches attention. It also looks kind of like an eye, but it forms almost like a halo effect around the dragon's head. Um, and then we have the Loxodonts, the humans. I don't know what that is. That might be some sort of Eidnock, like the dog people. And once again, Dragon's kind of in the background to show like it's like influence. Like it's even further. This Dragon's like massive. You can tell how big it is just because we have not only the people for scale, but the people are really close up, so that like it kind of messes with our like perspective a bit. But then you have like these buildings. The Dragon's behind that, and it's still massive. We can still see it. So we have the foreground here with the people, and then we have this like background, and then we have a further background in between the like these two, like the mountains, the way distance, and this background. We have this massive dragon that's still so big it takes up like it goes from like basically one side of the image to the other, just like from its wingspan. Um, Once again, color coordinate coding. So Teamer is green, blue, red, and they obviously have green, blue, red because magic isn't always subtle, and the dragon's kind of like turquoisey, so kind of like green and blue. Um, Yeah, so I mean, it's really interesting with their artistic direction taking the dragons in, where each dragon has like their own gimmick. Like for the team of the dragons are like energy. For the Mardu, the dragons are like have extra wings. The Sultai dragons are more snaky, and then Abzan they're kind of like stony, and then Jeskai they're kind of more like wisp like feathery. So whoops, completely lost track of what I was doing. Let's get started, and hopefully we can finish this. Hold on, I need to change my night shift is on to like lessen the burden in my eyes. I'm gonna turn it on because I really want to be able to see like the colors here. Ah, fuck my eyes. That really burns. But I'm doing this for you. The team are a semi-nomadic people who thrive in the northern mountain terrain, living in concert with their environment. The teamer way of life is adapted to life is adapted to the long freezing winters. They're expert hunters, gatherers, and herders, who are in close bonds with animal companions that work alongside them. The revered teamer whispers provide guidance and aids the clan, calling upon the spirits of the land to augur the future. So the spirit thing is kind of reflected in the design of the dragon. The dragon, I said, it's looking more elemental, but also it's very spirity, like wispy. Like especially if we look at like um, there's like see, like if you compare it to something like Empyrean Eagle, it's not. I don't think it's from the same plane, but I'm just using this to get the point across, like how magic handles spirits, where they often have like this kind of wispy, like almost gaseous look, and this is reflected in this dragon. Um, the team are they're largely isolationist. The team are focused on protecting the lands and way of life from intrusion by other clans. The team are stalwart in the defense of the northern region. Their warriors, hunters, and dragons maintain patrols in the land. They consider outsiders from their clan as a risk to the natural order and likely to pillage scarce and precious resources. To the team, our land protection and stewardship is integral to their way of life. They prioritize maintaining positive relationships with the spirits of the land and preserving natural resources for use by future generations. Some among the team also believe it is their responsibility to protect the lands of all Tarkir and have pushed for the clan to take a more active role outside Temur territory. So this is kind of a new aspect to the Temur where they're kind of like so on, like Ravnica, like the Gruul, their job is technically to like protect like the wilds, and we kind of have this kind of reflected sort of in the Temur. I'm not saying the Temur are just Gruul just because they have green red. We kind of see a little bit of like a somewhat similar methodology where it's like green's like desire to like protect the natural world, protect the world as it is, with like red's desire for action. So it's kind of like we gotta protect nature, and we're gonna do that by like getting proactive. Um, it's also just like once again, this plays into our conflict engine, where like I said, all Magic Planes basically want is a conflict engine to explain why the factions are fighting each other or would fight each other, and why there might be even internal strife, which can act as a sort of like little bit of like storytelling reason for why if you as a player are playing cards, it's like, hey, why is my teamer guys fighting a Mardu clan? Well, maybe the Mardu is they think they're encroaching the territory. Maybe the team's trying to expand outward, and they have the Mardu and teamer disagree about what to do with the territory. And you could even take it to like you and your friend are both playing teamer decks. It's just like, oh, maybe the teamers are fighting each other because like there's two factions within the clan that are disagreeing on what to do. But so this is something you see a lot, especially like in Magic the Gathering and Warhammer, where it's like a conflict engine. So Warhammer 40k specifically, where it's like there's basically always like a narrative reason for why factions could be fighting each other or themselves. Revel the Teamer. Resources were in perpetual decline under Atarka's rule. Starvation and illness were common among the people of the Brood. And pockets of rebellion emerged over time as many sought ways to free themselves from the Dragon Lord's tyranny. At first, the people's rebellions remained small. They were focused on survival as the Brood Dragons now hunted them as prey. We did actually see a bit of this, I think, in a previous short story where it was like I'm trying to remember the short story. It was really good. It was the one where like a teamer like shamans like basically like the a possible like a different future like the dragons weren't. They saw like a bit of the old timeline, but many of the dragons had grown complacent, having not hunted for themselves in generations. Okay, and the rebels' knowledge of the terrain allowed them to effectively evade Tarkir itself. The rebels saw the leadership of Tarkir as cruel and greedy, resenting the insatiable gluttony of the dragons that stripped the land of its vitality. As word of the smaller rebellion spread, many remaining whisperers emerged from hiding. They spoke of the Temur, of past traditions and the future they saw where they thrived once again as a people. Galvanizing the rebellions, led by formidable hunters, the rebels leveraged elemental magics and expert survival skills to fight back. Temur have always like had an elemental bent to them. In specific, like, I mean, all the colors have the elemental gimmicks, but Temur specifically has a kind of like has like an elemental gimmick. Where like other clans usually sticks closer to like one or two elements. Like for example, the Mardu are like specifically lightning, generally in Earth. They're not just like, but the Temur are sort of have like this sort of like landscape of like ice and wind and this I think is reflected in the color identity where like blue tends to be associated with air and water because those are thought of as higher elements in the classical four element system. Then you have red, which is associated with like fire and earth, and green's also accepted is also connected to fire. I mean, not fire earth. Green is accepted connected to earth, but I think here green is supposed to like be like the sort of like the focus on like nature and like how things exist like in the world by default. So you have like the elements like blues bring in water and air philosophically like metaphorically, and then red brings in the earth and fire, and then green is sort of like how these interact in nature, how these just like exist in the world. Um, they worked alongside the Whisperers, who provided rebels. No, they worked alongside the Whisperers, who provided knowledge of the unwritten. Now to guide, now to guide their it's the unwritten now, like to guide their next moves and stay ahead of Atarka's brood. And their combined might led to Atarka's defeat alongside the other Dragon Lords. Temur society. The Temur are semi-nomadic, transitioning during the year between villages and mobile camps. Winter, spring, and fall are generally spent in villages, while the summers are the most mobile time of year, as they move in more temporary camps to prevent overhunting or grazing in a single area. Um, the clan is led. It seems like the red faction seem to be like the most mobile generally. It's like the Jeskai, the moving ship. We know the Mardu are pretty nomadic, and then these are like they're semi-nomadic. So the red factions all seem to have that sort of like nomadic gimmick. Maybe gimmick is too strong of a word. I mean, it's like they're nomadic bent to their culture in a sense. I mean, Jeskai aren't like specifically nomadic. I'm just saying they have like the red faction seems to have more of an emphasis on moving around. The clan is led by the Dragonclaw and Head Whisperer, the Twice Whisperer. The Dragonclaw is selected by the members of the Temur and is a revered warrior, while the Twice Whisperer is chosen by the spirits from among all the Whisperers in the Temur. Those those two jointly make decisions that govern the entire clan, with the Dragonclaw primarily responsible for tangible matters and the Twice Whisperer governing spiritual and metaphysical affairs. So obviously, I mean, obviously these two are like our main characters. I mean, there's not really much to say. Like, so we have this one the main character. There's nobody else, so we know these two are the focus. This dog sounds really funny. Um, these like kind of this kind of adds like a frame. There's not really much like going on in the background because it's like less detailed. There's obviously buildings, so this is obviously one of their villages. Um, and here like we this one's an intention because there's like lights hitting this person's face and their body, and also the face of the dog. Everything else is like more like darker or in shadow or like sort of like colored by the background or like the background of like the atmosphere. So this is like these are like less like strong colors. These are like look how vibrant these are. And then obviously their attention is brought here because there's like a giant glowing ass sword. Well, it's not glowing. What's happening is lights hitting it, so it gives you the impression that it's glowing, but that still draws attention to it. And obviously, which obviously then brings them to their face. And then the dog is also like just as lit up as this person is, so the dog is like also drawing our attention. The dog also has like little like clothes and stuff, which helps draw a connection between them because they're basically like the same color palette as far as the clothing goes. Obviously, this one has more blue, but still. And I mean, yeah. Um, even these are still like way darker than like the actual character themselves. If you look, despite them being way closer. Um, Beyond the overall clan leadership, the teamer consists of smaller, loosely connected family-based groups. The smaller, more fragmented nature of the clans is advantageous when defending against other clans and surviving in the resource-scarce climate. Family groups also allow the same two-leader structure, with lay and spiritual leadership working in tandem to make decisions for the group. So I guess you could see like the spiritual like leader as being more of like a blue-green thing, like the focus on like the mind and the spirit, and then like the warrior like of the physical is like a green red, like more of like things as they are, like the physical world. Um, Loose connected family groups again types of red because red tends to like focus on like kind of like direct connections. Like green and white tend to be more like about like the like community or like as a whole, like a way bigger picture. Red's like red does it's not that red doesn't care about others. It's emphasizing that you should really like just focus on people you actually have like an emotional reason to care about, not like random civilians or just like someone you vaguely might have a connection to. Um, while many teamer are skilled in self defense and hunting within the clan, there are also highly trained warriors specialized in combat. Many of them work alongside mounts and animal companions that they use to cross vast difficult terrain quickly and outmaneuver their opponents. They're experts at navigating harsh climates and can often avoid direct confrontations by using the environment against their enemies. Um, so this looks like some kind of giant sloth. Um, so obviously, the sloth is more like the main character because we can barely see anybody's face here. Like we just kind of have their dots for eyes, maybe a little bit like it's barely this person's face, and they're covered. The other two is covered by like these hoods, and this person's so far back you can't see their face. So it makes this sloth as like the kind of like the main character in a way. Of course, the sloth is being hit by light. They have all the tusks and stuff. And then there's not much going like there's not like a bunch of stuff having in the background, which again points to the sloth being like kind of like the main character. I assume it's like some sort of giant because like look how their like claws curl. Like it's some sort of giant sloth. Um, Probably based on the ones from the Ice Age. Last Ice Age. Um, I mean, once again, color coded like blue, red, green. I mean, it's not like a ton of me for me to say. You got a ladder. I mean, I guess there's a yeah. I guess there's like a weird frame happening like with these trees and then like the mountain. Um, Teamer consider their animal companions to be part of their families and treat them with reverence and respect. Animal companions are bonded with a specific individual, living and working alongside them. The two can understand each other on a similar level as people, and most teamer will only have one animal companion at a time. Animal companions can be of many forms, but are generally creatures suited to the role of their humanoid partners. Some companions may also work as mounts. So again, I have to wonder if mount's going to be a mechanic we see in the set. I mean, if teamer's like faction set for this set was like mounts, that'd be a bit weird. I'd expect it to be something else, but we'll see. Maybe it'll combine with mounts in some way. Daily life. Civilians occupy many roles within the teamer. Hunters, gatherers, and herders are most common as direct supports to the well-being and lifestyle of the clan. Focus on keeping them fed and sheltered. They're careful to ensure they maintain balance in the resources of the land, taking only what is needed and using all that they hunt or gather. Many of the hunters and gatherers also act as scouts, observing the changes in the region activity of the other clans. Artists and craftspeople are highly respected within the clan. I'm gonna just take a sip of water real quick. All right. So here we have someone getting fucking bodied. This person's obviously our main character. I still don't know if this would be like a spell card or like a character card, or like a character, a creature card. I don't know why I said character card. It'd be like a legendary. But here we have like this person's like the main character. Like the emphasis on this person being flipped. They're all highlighted by the light. Again, not much going on in the background. The background's very simpler and more painted. Like, well, I mean, they're all. I mean, the entire thing's painted, but just like painted like way less detail. Like it's just simpler brush strokes. Brush strokes. We have some more ruins. I wonder if this is like a reference to like the dragons ruled or something, or just the passage of time about how much Tarkir's been through. And I mean, I get not much to say here. Like the sky's blue, or kind of like around where they're being flipped, which helps bring the attention. Like everything else is like mostly cloudy, and here's like all this blue, and this person's being flipped through the air. I mean, really good sense of movement. Like, look how they're like their hair. Yeah, really good sense of like this person's kind of like twisting a bit as they like fling this person to the air, like body slam them. Um, Wrestling, athletic also obviously they're really taking advantage of like the fact that Temur like wear kind of like vibrant clothing compared to the environment, because the environment tends to be look more like kind of just blue and white, and they're wearing like bright colors. Um, Wrestling, athletic competitions are a frequent Temur pastime. Wrestling matches are one of the most common ways for warriors and hunters to stay prepared in the quieter seasons. Champion wrestlers are highly respected and often take leadership positions in the Temur. Hunting, horticulture, and animal husbandry. I don't know what horticulture is. Is the science and art of is the science and art of the development sustainable? Okay, once again, so Sultai and Temur both have seen that in common. They're focusing on like sustainable, like this is specifically a commentary on like environmental friendliness and being like more sustainable. The northern climate is less hospitable for farming, so the Temur practice robust animal husbandry, bringing herds with them as they travel. They do some agriculture near their semi-permanent settlements and focus more on foraging and cultivation of what is already growing to maintain population for future gathering. In addition, the Temur are so once again this focus on like what's already there. It's like very green. It's like you don't need to try to change the world, just accept the world as it is and just take advantage of like things as they are. You don't need like try to make new crops or something. Um, in addition, the Temur are proficient fishers, fishing from frozen lakes in the winter as an additional source of food in the coldest seasons. This is not particularly like anything like color indicative. It's just that blue tends to be associated with water and cold, which is like sometimes magic is very simple in that way. Some is not like much of like a super deep like philosophical reason. Some is just like, oh, this ice and water so blue, and so the blue factions are sometimes often shoved in like cold places. Storytelling. A major pastime within the team are often gathering as a community, often after a long hunt to celebrate and pass the long winter nights. Stories are often told through narrative dances and songs that dramatically reenact recent battles and hunts as well as traditional tales. These events can also become competitive, with storytellers vying to be the most entertaining. This is actually this reminds me a lot of Red, specifically how Red shows up on in planes like Kaldheim with like characters like Bergie. So we have like Red is definitely has associated with storytelling. Like because I've said earlier that Red in the earlier videos that Red has a strong association with like art and stuff in the way that in the sense that art is like self expression, and this has been like referenced more and more in Magic lately, where it's like Red storytellers like where storytelling is like an art and they use it as like a way to like incite emotion in others, or like basically like carry on emotion in their storytelling. Could also be a bit of green, because green definitely has an emphasis on like history and like tradition. So like red and green and like passing down like tales from history. Also blues cares about knowledge. So, like once again, it's like blues is like preserving history just for the sake of learning from it. Sculpture and handcrafts. Given their nomadic lifestyle, most Temur arts are small and portable. They specialize in embroidery and fine metalworking, crafting exquisite adornments that are easy to display and carry with them. Some artists, however, prefer to work on a grander scale, creating impressive temporary structures out of ice and other materials. So we see that the metalworking and artistry, once again, is something that's like seems to be emphasized in all the red factions. The Jeskai, the Mardu, and the Temur all seem to have like are noted as having like really good like artistry and metalworking. I don't think like metalworking is mentioned particularly if like for example in the Sultai or like the Abzan. because the Absint's also just like good at trading and stuff. Um, the Endless Song. The team will believe in the Endless Song, the energy that suffuses the land and connects all beings, past, present, and future. The core belief of the Endless Song is that spirits inhabit the land and exist alongside the corporeal world. Spirits are not bound by time and space in the same ways as mortal creatures are. They may exist in both the past and the future, and possibly even past that have never happened, futures that may never happen. Time spiral confirmed. I'm just joking, kidding. This is obviously like a reference to the like the shit that like how Sarkhan changed the future by like making it so the dragon like storm didn't just die out because he saved Ugin, so the dragon storm didn't die out. It actually got stronger, than the clans got overwhelmed. Although I'm just saying, look, Mark Rosart, if you for some reason are watching this video specifically and you need an excuse to make another time spiral set, it's right here. Time spiral Tarkir. The team reviewed the Endless Song as a way of life rather than a practice or an obligation. The spirits are not something to are not to be believed in. They simply exist. So it's just like it's not like you're just believing in like blind faith. It's like you know they exist. Um, which again it feels kind of like green. Like you just kind of like there's some stuff like you just gotta kind of like trust exists. Um, Whisperers may lead ceremonies to call upon the spirits. Some are private rituals with only the whisperer, while others are larger events attended by many members of the clan. Ceremonies consist of a few common elements. Singing of invocations combined with rhythmic music typically performed on a harp-like string instrument. Specifically choreographed dances known only to the whisperer, and the fires infused with magic. And fires infused with magic, allowing the whisperer to channel spirit energy to give it form if needed. So we have like greens associated with animals, it looks like, and like reds with fire. So I guess this green stuff is like some sort of like magic fire. Seasonal celebrations. Seasons dictate many of the Temur rituals. The transition to and from winter sets the cadence of the year and is marked with distinct ceremonies. So once again, this looks like some sort of like spell card, mostly because we can't see this person's face, and we can't really see everyone else's face because they're like covered in shadow. This person's facing away from us, so we already can't see them. So which makes like the main focus like these animals, because the animals we can actually kind of see their face, but each of the animals we kind of see their face like the same amount, and like they're flying through the air. We even got a squirrel here, so like obviously, and then they're all the fact that they're like a bunch of these are like wisps are connected to like this thing shows that the animals have a connection to this like giant beacon and also to this person because this person's like obviously like flowing to the beacon, and then some of the animals are like literally coming from the person, and they have the same like wispy effect. So this immediately brings us like, okay, so these animals and then this guy are somehow all connected to each other, and here are the people dancing, and once again more wispy effect, light shining on this person to like emphasize like the dancing. It's just an interesting gradient where we get like cool colors and it gets warmer as we go over here. Maybe you show like a transition like in the year, like it goes from to and from, like they said, transition to and from winter sets. So this could be like winter to like a different time period, which could be like an artistic way to like represent it, where it's like this, like it gets colder and it goes slowly like warmer and like more sunny as we go into spring. Frost sweep. It's somber celebration of this transition into fall. Teaming families will give food and other supplies to their community members, creating resources to help everyone get through the coming winter. So it seems like an emphasis on like greens connection to community. Thawflow, a joyful celebration of the transition to spring, considered the Temur New Year, and often accompanied by cleaning up homes and community spaces, clearing out old things and ushering in the new. Um, the so this could be a reference to blue because blue's all about like improvement and for like perfection through knowledge. So this could be like focusing on the future and like bettering yourself basically each year. The Unbroken Night. The longest time of the year is celebrated with a feast accompanied by storytelling. Team members will stay awake the entire night and day until the glimpse of the sun on the horizon marks the end of the endless night. I wouldn't be surprised if this is what this could be. Well, I don't know. The Zenith Day. The longest day of the year, celebrated with a day and night of dancing and gatherings, often include various competitions and boisterous activities that only pause as they gather to watch the sun dip below the horizon. This could be what's. I mean, it seems like this could be what this is. We'll see. Um, the Temur Magic primarily revolves around the channeling of elemental energies by mages to empower and defend the clan. Mages in the Temur can directly animate the land and natural objects. So they were able to do that before, like in the previous. We've seen them do that previously. They animate like the land, imbuing them with elemental energy and creating a tangible force that they can direct for a specific task. So like green, blue, and red all connections to elementals. Like green obviously just cares about nature in general, but like I said earlier, green and red has a connection to like earth and fire elementals. Blue, water and wind elementals. I think green is just like because it's mostly like it's mostly like weird like plant elementals and stuff, but also just like it cares about nature enough that it's like like there's like a connection to like the elements of nature in general. and like embodiments of nature. Um, Human magic often takes the shape of animal familiars or important to the caster. So I think the animal familiar things is new because I don't remember them having quite so many like animal like distinct animal shapes and like their stuff. I remember it was just kind of like punchy bears and like um it was a lot of punching bears and like just like like ice elementals. Like they weren't like a particular animal. Like yeah, we have this guy, but like generally we didn't see a lot of animals except like maybe like bears and then like and then it's like this weird like ice elemental like embodiments of spring punching again. So we definitely have like a more like less just like jock like just beat the shit out of everything like to them and more like they have like there's definitely emphasis more. I mean they've always had like a massive spiritual side, but there's definitely more emphasis in like actual seeing them how they use it in combat. Like we have mind swipe here, but there's definitely like an emphasis like on the clan like generally using magic more and not just like beating the shit out of bears. Not like it's not like just the whispers and the shamans doing it. It's just like other people also do it. Um, I'm just admiring the art here because I really love Magic the Gathering art. So like we see claws and stuff, but this is like then the new art is like the first time we're seeing like them summoning like spirit animals in such a way. Um, sorry, I just think I was like, man, that's a really menacing looking Temur guy. I mean, not Temur, Jeskai guy. Whispers are chosen as representatives. Oh, I gotta talk about the art. I mean, not much to say here. Like they're being highlighted by like the green light. These are kind of like the frame. Like they draw all our attention to here. Like our eyes follow these like strands into the animals and the deer. They're highlighted directly by the light, and they're we can see obviously our brain like makes a connection between them because like the way they're moving and stuff, and the fact that their palms are glowing with the same kind of energy. Once again, color code even though it's a little bit harder to tell because the lighting it's like green, red, blue, or turquoise. It's a bit hard to tell because of the green lighting. They're doing it in the night, which is interesting. This kind of like is interesting because it kind of like drives right by this guy's head, so it helps like draw attention. Like almost like all this stuff is like happening in this like your eyes like if you're trying to follow the stars like you eventually you would hit this guy's head and you'd be like, oh, what's going on here, and you'd look around if you saw by some miracle this deed they didn't grab your attention first. And then you got the pillar here too. um and then I mean once again there's not much going on in the background. The background's like mostly dark. Like the foreground and these characters are really light, but then the background's like just covered like in darkness because it's nighttime. um Whispers are chosen as representatives of the land by the spirits and are directly connected to the endless song. As such, whisperers are highly revered and the important members of the team. Important members of the team are whisperers are most often chosen in young adulthood and undergo rigorous training alongside an existing whisperer to hone their magic and master their abilities. Whisperers are deeply integrated into their communities. They do not participate in hunts or combat, but provide healing, protection, and divination to aid their fellows. Team will regularly entreat whisperers for guidance and help, and interactions with them are a frequent part of daily life. Team relationship to dragons and dragon storms, dragon hunts. Temur Whisperers are experts at predicting the timing and locations of upcoming dragons. So those predictions like just feel very blue. Like I mentioned this before in other videos, but blue tends to have emphasis on like trying to predict the future because blue's all about like perfection through knowledge. So blue's like, hey, if you can understand what's going, I mean, I understand enough about the world, you can understand what's going to happen, and you can know what's going to happen, and you can use that to make more better, more informed choices to better yourself and like the world around you. So we see that here. And this is also like how counterspells are represented, where like counterspells, it's like blue trying to like read the future in some way or predict what the opponent's going to do, so they can stop it with only like 3 mana. Um, this allows the teamer to arrive at a storm before most of the clans and to bring into their fold more of the newly formed wild dragons. Clan dragons. The teamers form strong bonds of dragons to train alongside warriors and hunters of the clan, primarily assisting primarily assisting in these activities like other members of the teamer. Dragons and the team tend to congregate into small family like groups. As some of the most powerful and feared clan dragons, they defend the perimeters of the teamer lands and are fiercely protective of the members of the clan. They are generally stalking, robust dragons that wield fire as a breath weapon to incinerate their enemies, helping them to better drive the northern region. Okay, I mean it's kind of funny they're just using just fire. So earlier I was talking about the dragon looks more elemental SP. This is also more like kind of like a Tarkin dragon. I say that because the antlers mostly. Tarka. It looks less glowy. I don't remember Tarka looking quite as set. It has like kind of like the antlers kind of going on. The glow is a bit different. Like a Tarka has more of like a red orange glow. I think Tarkir dragons in general just look a little bit less glowy, um, but then like these are more blue. Obviously, like I think the red supposed to like represents the heat, like it's like about to blast you with fire. So, these are like it looks like they could be bite marks. I'm not sure, but I think these are just like patterns. Obviously, like it draws its attention that draw the way it draws to like to the way it draws attention to the dragons with these giant like big ass red wings. I mean, I think it's all staying on a bigger dragon too. That might be dead, but these big ass wings, and then like it's so big that like it's like the picture's almost split in two. Like this is like all cloudy, and then this is like sunny. It's like almost as if the dragon itself is kind of like blocking out like the clouds. Like it's just that big. Um, and it's staying on some sort of dead dragon, or maybe sleeping, but probably dead because its mouth looks like it's stuck open. Um, I mean, pretty simple but effective piece. Temur Whisperers can predict the timing and location of most dragon swarms in the plane. This knowledge, combined with their semi-nomadic lifestyle, allows the Temur to quickly vacate a region or shelter against the storms. Elemental magic experts are also able to manipulate the storms to protect the clan, generating barriers of snow and warning to ward off the worst of the weather. So once again, some of that more elemental magic and more emphasis like predicting. Most of the Temur lands are in the snowy, craggy Calcima mountain range and foothills. Kill Qual Sima mountain range. Qual Sima. Temur land borders directly with Martyr and Jeskai. So the borders with the others, like the two other like red. Borders with the two other red red factions. The climate is subarctic with freezing temperatures and much of the landscape covered in snow for most of the year. Summers are short and verdant. So this is definitely like during the summer. I'm not sure how much of like the team where we saw like outside like the cold, but we definitely getting more like a well-rounded look. Like it's not just them in the freezing cold. Like if you look at the team right here, there's all in they're, like in the cold all the time. But in the new set, we're definitely getting like an implication. I mean, this guy fucked up this Marty guy, but it's like they're almost always in the cold here. But here's looks like maybe this is a bit nippy, I guess, because everyone's still wearing heavy clothing. But definitely like there's more emphasis on showing like a more well-rounded look at the team. Like it's not just them like brute forcing it in the cold and punching bears. It's like they have like a very strong like use of magic. There's a lot of greenery here. Once again, there's not a main character here because we can't really see anyone's face. This person's too far away to see their face, and then like same here, and then everyone else is facing away, so it makes like the landscape kind of like the main character. But the landscape has the most detail and character to it and tells us most about what's happening. So I mean that's pretty interesting. Obviously, I feel like we pay like back like from this point like upward. The rest of this is kind of like cloaked and like kind of like the atmospheric like filter. Like as you go further back, the earth things become more blue sometimes because that's just like the sky is blue. So because like you have more and more like the sky between you and whatever object you're looking at. So here we have like now like clouds and sort of like an atmospheric blue, like blue tint to it, which kind of tells us that like this is the primary focus. Like all the light and like warmth is here, and then it kind of stops like once you leave this area and go into the mountains. Like all the warmth and like comfort almost, like people just kind of like stop. And back here it's just like wilderness or like cold and mountains. Um, Once again, color coding. I mean, you can see it everywhere. Also, is that those like the bi flag colors, but I mean, once again, color coding: blue, red, green. I mean, there's a lot more colors than just blue, red, and green here. It was pretty interesting, like pink, yellow, blue. These like weird glowy streamers. Are those horns? Those might be horns, like dragons. Um, Karakik Glacial Settlement. Located within a glacial valley, the village is one of the two mostly permanent locations of the Temur that is primarily occupied through the winter months. Carved ice caverns provide comfort and insulation, with openings made from tree leather and dragon bone. Summer Landing, an alpine forest clearing located in the foothills, formerly known as Ayago or Dragon Bowl. I assume it's because the dragons love to fucking the Tarkir brood love to fucking eat there. Actually, can I look up? Hold on, I don't think I'm just seeing if this will show anything because I don't remember. Oh yeah, I don't. I'll figure that out later. The site has been reclaimed by the teamers usually animal observation of the Zenith Day. For the celebration, they celebrate the continued survival as a clan and commemorate those lost to its Tarkir's cruelty. Mistrise Village. Mistrise Village. A semi permanent settlement built around the geothermal steam vents. So once again, blue and red tend to have like a like is it specifically tends to like have like a connection to steam vents, and there's like literally a card called like steam vents. Hold on. Ooh, I'm just hitting every button. If you don't know, my keyboard is like so old and like the buttons are like faded, so I can't actually see any of the letters on my keyboard except for like Q and U, H, J, and I have to like use like basically everything like just use that for. So we have literally like Steam Vents is like a popular card, like blue and red. So obviously like the heat of like red's passion with like blue's like water, like a connection to water. Um, the vents are most likely in the spring and fall, causing an influx of Temur families to come home to the village during those months. Eternal Ice, a holy sacred mountain peak with a mountain snowfield that is solid and stable. It is a place traversed only by whispers and contains a special site for important whisper ceremonies. Plot out the Fire Rim. Located between Jeskai and Temur lands, formerly belonging to the Jeskai and later conquered by Atarka. Currently, these are a tentative accord allowing either. Currently, there is a tentative accord allowing either clan to hunt and gather in the region, but no settlements may be built there. The region is known for its volcanic activity, so it seems to be like a red, like reference to red in connection to fire and volcanoes. The Dragon's Throat, a high winding valley where the natural acoustics have created a continuous wail. This is a secret location visited only by the Whisperers. Flint Glaze Lake, an alpine lake that freezes over in winter but remains an abundant source of fish all year. The ice is dense enough in the winter that the Temur will camp on its surface. Rainvale Forest, a verdant forest that covers much of the lower mountains. This region is frequented by the Temur during the summer, when the flora and fauna are most abundant. So that's all the Tarkir stuff. We are officially done with that. I'm gonna go back to like my normal like content for a little bit. If enough people ask, if anybody wants me to do, I can go through like, for example, like the um Edge of Eternities and like some of the other stuff we've been getting. I mean, I might not go through this one specific. You know what? We're just gonna have to go through it now because this looks like not even like a page long. Let's go through the Edge of Eternities, and then we'll stop there. And then if there's a Planeswalker's Guide to Edge of Eternities, maybe I'll do that in the future. So experience Magic the Gathering like you've never seen it before in Edge of the Eternities. It's just linked to like the store or something. Um, this far out set takes the Magic universe into the realm of science fantasy. I'm kind of excited for this set. Although I am conflicted because I've been working on I was working on a sci-fi fantasy plane, like a fan plane for the longest time, and now I have to think about like, is this just is this just going to look like a ripoff of Edge of Eternities if I like start trying to like reveal it now? I might give it like more of an like a African American or like Afrofuturist bent, try to make it more distinct, but we'll see. You'll planeswalk through the Sothera system, an enigmatic realm at the far edges of the multiverse. The sky isn't the limit. We're talking taking to the stars. So we already got like a. I don't know if the planet's called Sothera. This is specifying it's just a system of planets. So this is already very interesting to me. I've I know some people are gonna say this isn't magic or whatever, but I am interested to see where this goes. Especially look at this art. So I assume these are like the basic lands, maybe, because we did see like in one of the unsets like planet based lands. I kind of hope they take the chance to add like maybe like a new land type. Like I could see planet as like a land type or something, but they might not do it since they've already like released like planet stuff as like normal lands. So this could be plains, island, swamp, mountain, forest, somewhat more obvious than others. These are like very beautifully rendered though, and we have like obviously colorful gold, blue, purple, and black, red, green. Um, there are also plenty of small scale stories to follow in the vast reaches of space. You'll meet new faces and recognize some old ones, and join the battle for cosmic power at the heart of a dying star. At the heart, like in the heart of a dying star. Also, Tezzeret's here. That's pretty cool. I mean, it makes sense. He's got his new Darksteel body. Looks like the one he got in when the one he tricked out of the Phyrexians into giving him. I mean, it makes sense. If anyone would be in this set, it'd probably be Tezzeret. He's having a great time. Here's what I think. I thought it was Elspeth for a second, but no, I think it's just an angel because Elspeth has like sword wings. So it looks like an angel. The wings are beautiful though on this plane. Like they're kind of like this cosmic like dust, and you got the people running in their suits. It's kind of interesting that you can't see any of their faces. Once again, I don't know if that's like intentional. It might just be an angel card. It could also be like maybe it's supposed to be like some sort of effect. Like I could see it be like an anthem card. But and it's interesting that we have like this ring. It almost looks like something like firing past the angel. But I mean, it's hard for me to say because I don't have like much of information on the factions yet. We don't know what colors they are. Obviously, she's not wearing shoes. It's kind of funny. It's funny just because like you're on the moon in space, and like these guys are wearing like full outfits, and I mean, they're an angel, so I guess I assume the angels are like some sort of like cosmic entity on this plane, probably, because there's like not really a face here. It's just like, but it like flows into hair and then like the shape of wings. So I assume angels aren't really like solid like normal people. And we have like the planet in the background, kind of bringing our attention to like this kind of general area. Um, this is interesting because there's a lot of green here, which implies maybe some sort of green faction creature. Green has people like kind of misunderstand green. They kind of assume that like it would never use technology. Like green is just like a bunch of like a guy that living naked in the woods, like eating fucking raw meat. But like green's more about accepting the world for as it is. And sometimes like we've seen like for example in like Kaladesh, what is now I forget the name. I'm not trying to disrespect the like I'm fine with a Vishkar. Sorry, I'm fine with the new name here. I'm just trying to get used to it. So we've seen like a Vishkar slash Kaladesh. Like we have seen green like a major connection to like artifacts. Like, I mean, this one's, but like, this guy's wearing like a suit. There's like one card in particular, it's like some legendary lady who makes like a bunch of artifacts. You have the Gear Hulks, Durable Handicraft. So, I mean, I'm not gonna go on the whole tirade here. I don't know why I say tirade. It makes it sound like way meaner than it actually is. I don't know why I don't go like on the whole spiel here about like Green's connection. I do have like an article on my Tumblr if you guys are really interested in like hearing about my analysis between green and technology and how it's represented a bit in Magic. We have this was card is mixed servo tokens. So it's interesting because this looks like it's probably green aligned just based on like how Magic the Gathering color coding works. It'd be very weird if this was like, oh, this is actually a black card and it has no like, there's barely any black on it. It's just silver and green. But I mean, it looks like it's blocking something. It just looks like some sort of like ferro fluid, which is pretty interesting. What we tell you more about a fleet of warring starships jamming your signal. Now here's a transmission of some of the cargo we're carrying. There's a fraternity's product lineup. Yeah, gotta have your products. Let's see what we got here. Counterintelligence, kind of interesting. So like spy, world shaper. Okay. So I wonder if this is just the command. If we're gonna get like probably I wonder if we're gonna get 3-color like factions again, or if this is just like just for the commander sets because it could be just for the commander sets. Um, yeah, and that's well, unless you want to do Spider Man. Hold on, I'm probably not gonna go over these. Yeah, we're gonna do this some other time. But holy shit, that's a big piece of art. That's really cute. Um, I'm saying blue whites that makes sense for Spider Man. I know people are gonna say red because he's red, but like if we're being real, like just ideologically, Spider Man's probably more like white blue. Like maybe sometimes red, but like I think he's more like white blue generally. Blue black makes sense for Doc Ock too. I wonder if do they have a cross at Spider Verse? Anyway, I'm gonna stop there. I'll see you guys next time. I'm gonna go back to my normal videos for a bit, so I'm just gonna be posting like more edited videos. I'm gonna try to like alternate. I'm gonna try to alternate between like Magic the Gathering edited videos, Hunter x Hunter, and then maybe like some TMA, like the Madness Archive stuff. We'll see what happens. You know how I am. Anyway, I'll see you guys next time.